Happy Monday, everybody. Thank you so much for downloading or streaming the Be Our Guest podcast. You are in for a huge treat today. We have a fun trip report. We're headed down to Texas with listener Amber and her dad, Doug, and we talk about their amazing trip to Disney's Polynesian Village Resort for a multi-generational trip where they visited the theme parks during Flower and Garden Festival. We talk about fun times in the Magic Kingdom, Epcot, and Hollywood Studios. And we just really dive into what being a family at Walt Disney World is all about. Doug talks to us about his going to Walt Disney World since 1972 and how those trips year after year and seeing how the resort has sprung up over the years and how his family has made memories there, and it just continues. And it's a really heartwarming trip report today because you get to hear about the kids who are 2 and 6 months old, get to have their first experience with Walt Disney World, meeting Cinderella, having dinner at Cinderella's Royal Table. A great tip for not doing Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, but having a very similar experience for a lot less money. It's just a great trip report, so stand by for that. Don't forget our show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next trip to Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney for no additional cost to you. Check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That one extra click supports everything we do throughout the year. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so much to our Patreon supporters. You guys make the show possible. I cannot thank you enough for that. You can support us as well, just $5 a month, and you'll get a bonus show called Mike in the Midwest every week. Coming over, we'd love to have you. Patreon.com/beourguestpodcast.
Ready to take a trip to the world? You found the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. This is where your memories come front and center on our podcast stage.
Welcome to episode 2556 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from beourguestpodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you. Hope you had a great weekend and got to get outside and enjoy some friends and family time. That's what the weekends are for. And of course, well, we said friends, we said family. That's 2 of the 3 F's. And of course, this time of year, a little football. But you know me, I'm superstitious. I'm not saying anything about my team. I just hope it was a good game. Let's just say that, because I take nothing for granted this time of year. Just ask any Notre Dame fan. Just saying. But today we're not talking football because I am super anxious as we record this game about our game upcoming this Saturday. So not even saying a word. We're just going to talk Disney, and that's why you're here. And you're like, Mike, I came for the Disney, not the football. I get you. Let's do this. And today, not just one guest, we have two for the price of one. We're going to have a great time heading down to Texas. That's right. We're talking to a couple of Aggies. So there could be some rivalries here. No, we'll see. All right. So joining us, we have Amber. Amber down near Round Rock, Texas. What's going on, Amber?
Hey, Mike. It's good to be on the show again. I got to be on one time. I think it was at the beginning of last year, maybe.
Right.
And it's fun to come back on again. I love the show.
I'm so glad to have you back. So how are things going here as we transition out of summer into fall down in Texas? Are you guys down maybe to the double digits down that way, or how are things? I guess the leaves don't change the color too much down that way.
Not too much, but we are finally down in the 90s.
Oh, man.
As opposed to the hundreds.
Oh, man. Break out the sweaters.
There we go.
Or spirit jerseys as Disney fans.
Finally bust out the spirit jersey. That's right. Tonight.
I've always wondered how Walt Disney World can sell so many spirit jerseys when 10 months out of the year, it's oppressively hot at that place. I guess because people take them home and wear them, but I just, the phenomenon is just unbelievable to me. So, well, Amber, would you like to introduce our second guest here on the show today? Because, it's your dad.
I coaxed my dad into joining us tonight, and he's a fellow Disney fan. And yeah, his name is Doug. And he has been on all these trips with me as well. So just thought it'd be fun to bring him on. We're the kind of the only two in the family that I think listen to Disney podcasts. And so thought it would be fun for him to join in.
As a dad, I love this. Doug, welcome to the show. Thanks for taking the time
Thanks,
to come
Mike.
on.
I appreciate it. Really looking forward to our time together, and always love the positive energy that you bring. You're a great host.
I appreciate that so very much. So let me start with you, Doug. I'm super excited that we could all be together here on this show today. Give us some background as to your connection with Disney and maybe how it is, gone back through the years with you. How do you connect with the company?
Oh, that's a great question. Actually, I thought about it a lot today. So what was exciting about this trip, and I think we'll touch base, is we had 4 generations of our family, great grandmother, grandparents, parents, and grandkids, which was just fantastic. And the tie that was exciting for me is the first time that I went to Disney was in the summer of 1972.
Oh, wow.
So my parents, we went out there at the very, very early stages. And then later on in a youth group, we went there, spent our honeymoon there in the 80s. And then later on, as my mother-in-law lived in Florida with our 2 children, which Amber is one, and her brother, we would go out pretty much every March for spring break, and we'd always have a little Disney stint in there. So probably for about 20 or so years, we lost count of the times that we went spring break or Christmas time. And so we have some wonderful memories there, but also what's really cool is then to share that with my grandchildren and to see Amber and her husband enjoying it, seeing great grandma enjoy it, and to have all of us together really tied it all together in a really fabulous way.
I can't wait to hear about this. Not only just the fact that families got to make memories, your family got to make memories together, because family time is the most important thing in the world. I mean, there's nothing more important than families being together, making memories together. But also, I think a lot of folks in our audience kind of have this idea they would like to do this at some point in the future. But logistically, this is a challenge, right? It is hard to kind of get everybody on the same page, scheduling. And then, how do I book a hotel for something that grandma's going to like, but also the 3-year-old's going to, enjoy, and dining? How do we do all this, and mobility issues? And so maybe we could talk through that. But let me ask you one other quick thing, Doug, because you went back in the, the 70s and stuff like that. Yeah. Is there something you remember back from the early days of Walt Disney World that still sticks with you that you, Sure. If you could bring it back, because I mean, I love it. I'm a nostalgia fan, is there something from the old days that you wish was still around?
Well, there's things, a couple of things. The first thing is, remember, this is so new that I'll never forget. We were riding on the monorail going into the park, and you go through the Contemporary and the mural, and going through the hotel on a monorail. There was nothing like that. And it took your breath away. And the newness of everything, to some extent, it was kind of a little bit sterile, if I can say it, when it first opened up, because it was a lot of concrete. The landscaping it's like the subdivision that just starts, but 40 years later, it's an established neighborhood with the trees. And so it had a little bit of that to it. But as a kid, of course, it was so spectacular, and to be there with my brother and my parents was a special memory. And they sacrificed a lot. We were a blue collar family, and they sacrificed a lot for us to go for that special memory. And but the other part was, of course, the space around Magic Kingdom at their time. There was the Contemporary. I'm trying to remember. I don't think the Polynesian was there yet. I don't quite remember that part, but there was nothing else around, period. And it was out in the middle of nowhere, just open land. And we stayed at a Ramada that wasn't too far. It was a Ramada Tower. But that's what I remember most, is kind of the newness and the special memories of being with my family and of being a kid there. So
You got to see the Vacation Kingdom truly spring up, I mean,
yeah, absolutely. And see
Epcot
it
wasn't even an idea,
Yeah,
and got to see that. I love that, that because I was obviously came around later in the game when Epcot was already established, and I just love hearing those perspectives. That's just fun to get that view. Okay, so Amber, let's hear about I'm sure you were the point person for this particular trip, right? Did you kind of put this together?
I did
The planner?
a lot of the actual planning of restaurants and attractions. So that was kind of my role. My mom booked the hotel and the flights and all of that for us, and then I handled like once we got there.
Okay, well let's just talk though. How did it come together? I mean, is this something that the
Yeah.
idea sprung up over like you're opening the presents on Christmas Eve, over Thanksgiving dinner? I mean, what multi-generational? Somebody had to say something. Like where's the genesis of this trip?
Man, I guess it starts with my grandma, my mom's mom, just very uh, great about keeping our family making these kind of memories. And she let us pick where we wanted to go. And we all were like anxious to finally take my kids because they had never been. And so I think it was kind of a no brainer of like, okay, we want to take a vacation. The girls haven't been to Disney yet. That's in our blood. That's what we've been doing forever. So let's rope them in and let's
right.
continue the
I
tradition.
think also part of that too is her wanting to experience as a great grandma, having
Yes.
great grandchildren go, and then for us as grandparents for the first time, I mean, to take our grandkids there for the first time, really super exciting. And then for me to see my daughter and her husband with our grandkids is really, I think, is what made it so special.
I think too, it as parents too, taking your kids for the first time. It's almost, and I'm not saying this in a negative way. It's almost selfish though, kind of in a non-negative
Yeah,
way,
sure.
in the fact that you do want this kind of a trip to happen because you are so eager for that child, grandchild. It could be, your uncle that's never, he's 30 years old, but he's never gone on a Disney vacation, and you want to take them or a cruise or whatever. You want to give somebody that you care about an experience that you are really, it's changed you. You really enjoy, and you want to give them that thing that brought you joy, and you want to see it through their eyes. We talk about that all the time on this show. And it is kind of selfish because you're like, oh man, I can't wait to see them when they turn that corner and see the castle, or when they have their first Mickey ice cream bar on Main Street, USA. It's a little selfish, but I mean, they're getting to have a great experience too, which I love that though. We get to share with our family. So let me ask this, Amber. So tell us about the pre-planning before we get down to the trip. Was there anything that was difficult or that you would like to share that maybe could help folks in the future? Because again, logistically, a lot more to think about than taking your core family of 4 down and hopping on a plane and heading up.
Yeah, that's a great point. When you have that many people going together, you do need to plan to make your dining reservations, that 60-day out mark so that you can get a lot of the dining you want. Although you can get some great stuff last minute too, but we just knew we wanted to do a lot of character meals, and those can sometimes fill up quickly. And it was more important with this trip to be able to eat at certain times with the kids' schedule. And so that was something that we had to like be on the ball with, was making sure we knew at least, okay, we're going to be sitting down at this meal at this time on this day, and trying to think through like, what's the best strategy to get the most in with the kids before they're like totally wiped out and then they're not having fun anymore every day. So we had to plan our days with that in mind, of trying to get some things in early, knowing that they would need like a nap. And so,
hey, I still need a nap when I'm at Walt Disney World. It wipes me out.
Sure. Yeah.
Sign me up. How old were the kids on the trip?
my oldest, Jojo, was 2.5. And then my younger, Evelyn, was 6 months.
Ooh, see, 6 months is actually not as hard as the 2.5-year-old, correct?
I
Right?
agree.
See,
I
I
agree.
remember those
Because the
days.
6-month-old is really flexible. They can nap in the stroller. The 2.5-year-old's got a lot more opinions.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I
Yeah.
remember that. Yes, that's right. I remember that.
Two memory, Mike, if I could just say two memories about a 2.5-year-old and a 6-month-old. One was really special is Amber enjoyed when she was that age at 2, she enjoyed the castle show. And so we have pictures and our memories of her watching the castle show. And then at JoJo at the same age, watching the show at the castle was just fantastic. And then part of having a 6-month, I loved kind of the park experience of just being able to rock Evie while she's napping in the stroller and having a nice park to do it in, to see, just enjoy a lot of people watching, but to be in a nice setting, right? And to Amber was joking with us before about, I got to really examine all the details of the tangled restroom area while I'm, rocking the little one for an hour or whatever. But that's what made it special for that age. It was really great.
That's super cool. So let's talk about travel down and arrival. You guys stayed at Disney's Polynesian Resort. Very nice. I like your choice of accommodations. Back to the very classic Disney feel there, right on the monorail. Ease of access to the Magic Kingdom, by the way. It's a great call. So how you said you had a little issue with the room, but was travel down anything you learned there? Any issues there?
traveling was good. I think it was just when we got there, somehow we weren't all connected as a group in the system. And this is probably where having a travel planner is really good.
I'll tell you, we link them all the time, and sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Because what happens is we link them with the systems, and then they get passed off to the resort itself. And sometimes stuff gets disconnected. We do
Yes.
everything we can. We even get travel with numbers and everything, but best laid plans kind of thing, and it happens.
Yeah. So we spent quite a while at the front desk at the beginning of the trip, but they did their best to make it as good as they could. We were all in the same building, just different floors. So it was still pretty convenient considering. Yeah. And we got a building that was closest to the main house, and very close to the pool. And so that was wonderful just to be right there by those things.
Do you guys like the updated Moana theme and all that stuff? Because we toured those when we were down last year with the agency. I thought it was pretty sharp.
Yeah, it
'cause
was great.
very
That
cute.
was really fun. And JoJo loves Moana, so it was fun for her to get to notice Moana and Maui and those details. Yeah, she was into it. It was really pretty still. It didn't feel like it was a different Polynesian necessarily. It just felt like updated.
Yeah,
Refurbished.
they did a good job of putting the characters in there, but they feel like they've been in there since the 70s. They're there, but it's not like they cartoonified the rooms like Art of Animation or anything like that. They very subtle, very very nice, and the color palette's the same. Very very well done. Doug, let me ask you this: so you stay at the Polynesian throughout the entire stay. How would you rate it? How'd you feel? How'd you think of it?
Oh, Polynesian's always been one of our favorites. One, I think, especially for little ones, having monorail access is invaluable. And to some extent, I know there's budgets and people face all kinds of different challenges to go, but I don't know. It'd be very difficult to not to be at a resort hotel when you have little ones and you got to go back for naps or things like that. But yeah, the Polynesian has always been one of our favorites. We love the pool area. We love the lagoon show. We love seeing the fireworks from the Polynesian over the lagoon at night. Especially, as Amber said, that we were right next to the main house. So that was great being with the little ones. And so Polynesian's always been one of our favorite, mainly because of the setting is great, but also the monorail access is really.
Yeah, I mean, you can't beat that because you're, 2 stops, boom, get off,
Yeah.
Magic Kingdom, here you are.
Yeah.
And the Grand Floridian's next door, which good.
Yeah,
It's a great place
right.
to go eat too.
Yes.
So you guys kicked off the vacation. I like this with a Kona Cafe dinner,
Oh,
one
yeah.
of my favorite places to eat. So was that a
good.
great call? Did they work out well for you?
It was really delicious.
Yeah.
I
Post
got-
Dole Whip first. You got to get that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, we got the Dole Whip
Is that
and
not
then-
why you stay at the Polynesian? I mean, come on. multiple
Dessert
Dole Whips
before
every day.
dinner, you know.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, you're on vacation. 100%. Yeah, but Kona Cafe, it's never disappoints in my book.
Yeah.
Even though they should bring back from about 10 years, it's not been 10 years, probably 5 years ago, the old teriyaki steak they used to have. That was my favorite thing. And
Oh,
why
man.
they got rid of
I
that?
got sushi this time,
Oh.
and it was some of the best sushi I think I've ever had. It
Wow.
was really good. But
Nice. I'll have to try that out next time. See, we have a place here. I ordered a California. I'm really adventurous, right? Missouri. We don't have a lot of sushi. I mean, St. Charles, Missouri, too, where I live. We have a ton of sushi. I ordered a California roll the other night. My family does not touch anything seafood, but I ordered a California roll as an appetizer the other night at this like sports bar. You should have seen my girls. So if I do that, maybe marathon weekend, I'll be there solo. So there you go. All right. So first day in the parks, obviously Magic Kingdom. Now here, I'm so glad we have somebody on this. Finally, I give you another bell. I'm liberal on the bell today because I'm just giving them out. But here's the deal: for about the last 17 shows we've done trip reports, no one's gone to the Magic Kingdom first, and it's been driving me
Really?
insane on the inside.
Really?
I don't know why. Like, I mean, if you guys didn't go first, it was going to really drive me crazy because you're at the Polynesian. We'd have problems because that's why you stay there.
That's right. Yeah.
And you got little ones and you're doing all
Little
this
ones,
multi-generational stuff. I've been like, what's going on? Somebody's messing with me. So you guys go to the Magic Kingdom. So I don't know, Amber, you want to kind of tell us about, I mean, because that's got to be like, this is why you go to Walt Disney World, right? I mean, this is it.
yes, we did not want JoJo to have to wait longer than she needed to finally get to see Cinderella's castle, and she was so excited. We went down Main Street. I was like running, trying to stay in front of the stroller so I could get a shot of her face when she saw it for the first time. And at that point, I think, Dad, was it just you, me, and Sean? Because like Mom and Grandma weren't there yet, but
Gosh. Oh, this
anyways,
is awkward.
but
moment. I don't remember.
I was
It's a
I was
memory
able
test.
to like capture that moment on video, and we're like, JoJo, there's Cinderella's castle, and she goes, I want to go there right now. And so she thought like we can just immediately go in and go inside the building and meet Cinderella.
Just hang out.
probably.
We're just going to hang out all day with Cinderella.
Right.
And there's going to be birds flying and pumpkins turn into coaches. Exactly. I mean, that's what
Exactly.
a 2-year-old thinks. Exactly. Totally.
But
But it was really cool to see the light in JoJo's eyes when it took her a second to realize what she was seeing, but when she did,
Yeah, that's
she
right.
just lit up.
it took her a minute to process it because we had
Process
shown her pictures, and I think it almost didn't feel real to her at first. But
Well, you got to imagine though, to a young mind like that, the scope of that castle. I mean, it is almost 200 feet tall. I mean, she's never seen anything like that in her
right.
life. I mean, it is. I mean, even adults. I mean, I would imagine
Sure.
30-year-olds walking down the turn that corner for the first time. You don't expect the castle to be that beautiful and that as detailed and that massive right there. Boom, at the end of Main Street. That's
Yes,
pretty
that was
remarkable.
a fun moment.
So what'd you guys do that day? Just give us some highlights because I want to make sure we get all this in, and we could go for 5 hours. I know we can't. We got like 45 minutes, but give us some. I know you did some really special stuff that day, so that you guys could have some great experiences.
Yeah. Dad, do you want to start or?
Well, I think one of the special things, we went to Small World, which was my daughter and especially my son's favorite when they were really little. So that was great to kind of be one of the first things that we introduced JoJo to, was the tradition of Small World, and she loved that. And we did a couple other things, but what I thought was really special that day was going to the Crystal Palace. And we had the character breakfast, and Jocelyn loved Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, yes, that was so
and
fun.
the whole Pooh clan, Eeyore and Tigger, and it really was super special. You could just see her, of course, see these as real,
Yeah, absolutely.
real characters for her. And it was that was one of my memories of first starting off.
Well, even Evie liked that because
Yeah, that's
I
right.
have a cute video of our 6-month-old at the time kissing Piglet's nose and
It's
like
classic. That's so cute.
Yeah.
giggling and laughing and so happy to see Piglet even as a baby. So that was precious. But I think my favorite memory from that day was, and this is kind of also a tip. So we knew we didn't want to do the 2-hour Bippity Boppity Boutique experience because that's really long
That's
for
a lot. Yeah.
a toddler and it's really expensive. And we
Yep.
had so many other things that were honestly more important to us than that. But we also knew she would love some aspects of that. So what we did is we just went to the boutique next to that salon and she got to pick out a dress. So she picked out her Cinderella dress and they actually have a photo pass
You do.
station in that shop. So with no line and full props, and they did a great photo shoot with her in her Cinderella dress. And Dad, even I think you got some with Evie, and then
Yeah, it was fantastic. But
they did a cute picture of my husband putting like a glass slipper on JoJo's foot in her Cinderella dress, and they did a whole like probably 30 pictures or something, and that was really nice. And then they still will do like the pixie dust if you just ask them. If a cast member's in there, they will still do the pixie dust on the kids that want it, and which is something that you get, I think, at the Bippity Boppity Boutique experience also. But so you can almost make your own experience without it being 2 hours and not being quite so expensive. You're just paying for the dress. So
See, we should have done this show when Mallory was younger because they got me for the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique experience twice and the dress. Like they got, because like you have to. I was the dad of and she was
Sure.
the youngest girl, and I felt guilted. And they rake you over the coals, man. It was.
I mean, I'm
expensive.
sure it's a really
Like,
cool
oh,
thing.
The
but
pictures are adorable, but I'd have had the same pictures for half the cost, at least probably a quarter. Because this
Exactly.
sounds great. I could have been putting the slipper on her, and I could have kept hundreds of dollars in my pocket. I love you, all the rest of the listeners that are going to save all this money. Thank Amber. Thank Doug. Make a donation.
It was the way to
Aggie
go.
Fund.
It worked out great.
and the cast members kind of were really helpful. That was for them. They have folks set aside for that little photo section that we didn't know about. There's the clerks or the cast members who are doing the checkout stuff, but these cast members are set aside just for that. So it was great.
And I love the idea of kicking off the day with that breakfast at Crystal Palace, because you're killing two birds with one stone right there, right? You're getting awesome character interaction, lots of great pictures, and you're getting a really good meal in an awesome setting where you're sitting there looking at Cinderella Castle. Just the
food
restaurant
got
itself.
better at Crystal Palace.
The food is
The
good.
food was actually pretty good. I feel like we all enjoyed it.
I like
And
it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been pretty good.
Did they still have the ice cream even at breakfast?
Well,
Yeah.
we did the lunch
Oh,
one.
you did
yeah,
the
we did
lunch?
lunch.
Scotty G, man, he kills that ice cream machine. So I was wondering if they took it out, because last time I went, he made a big old ice cream. I'm like, they're gonna discontinue this ice cream machine. It was
And
ridiculous.
then the one other thing that I was like, this is definitely worth mentioning from that day is we did the Monsters Inc. laugh floor,
Right.
and JoJo was picked as Boo.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was gonna see, was Doug that guy? No.
Oh, we're happy, Doug. Yeah.
Actually, I was at that particular time. I was taking care of Evie, our 6-month-old, because I was watching her, if I remember correctly. So,
Boo, though. That's perfect. Boo.
yeah.
See that show is way under the radar. I crack up every.
Oh,
see,
I love that show.
You got to have dad humor to like that show.
That's
Though.
right.
See,
Dad
that's
jokes
right up
all
my
the
eye.
way.
I love that show.
It is dad humor.
It is so dad humor. I go every time, but I mean, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but it's totally mine. Real quick though, you guys got to ride Tron. I see Amber. You got to ride Tron. What'd you think?
Yes.
It was cool. Good addition.
Oh, it was great. That initial launch is worth the whole thing. I love that. I think it lives up to the hype. I thought it was fun. It adds such a great aesthetic to Magic Kingdom as a whole and Tomorrowland. I feel like that's what I appreciate about it, is just being over there by it. It's really fun to watch. It looks beautiful, and yeah, I think it really ups the game over there.
And that was kind of dead space a little bit, and they really expanded Tomorrowland with that. So.
Absolutely, especially at night. At night, that dome.
Yeah.
I mean, just bam, it pops.
Actually, Dad took one for the team so that we could go back on our last night and go ride it at night. Because that day we did it during the day, but then on the last night, Dad watched the kids while we went back in late night to ride it one more time. And I liked it better at night for sure. It's all lit up, and
I still haven't got to do it at night because of the queue thing, like you just got what time you were given. And now that it's standby, you have more control over. I'm sure the lines are longer at night because of that. I want to ride it at night, but every time I got, 3:00 in the afternoon when you're baking out there waiting to get under the dome. All right, let's keep moving here. Though I could talk about that day all day, but let's go over to your Animal Kingdom day, your next day. So maybe Doug, give us some highlights of at Animal Kingdom. What'd you guys do over there?
Of course, Jocelyn, they love the animals and the safari. It was great, but I can just share with you a little personal one because my wife and I had a chance to take JoJo to go see Moana, and JoJo really loves Moana. But I'm going to say this about all. I guess I don't know if you call them actresses or the living characters that actually interact with it. Yes, you have to wait a little bit longer for you to get there, but they take their time with the kids and really interact with them. So the same was true with the Frozen characters, same was true with Rapunzel, all the other ones that you had that opportunity. And so Moana was really fantastic at interacting with JoJo and spending probably, 3 or 4 minutes is significant time, 5 minutes, And so for me, that was still one of the highlights because you see in JoJo's eyes, this is really Moana, and she was just starstruck by that. So that was one of my favorite times was seeing Moana through JoJo's eyes.
She loved that.
So, Amber, what did you think though over there? I mean, to see that, how cool is that? That's pretty special.
I was on Flight of Passage with my husband.
you were seeing a banshee. You're like,
we escaped and went over to Pandora during that part.
So, but hey, it's a win-win, right? They got to do the big adventure ride, and then Brendan and I get to have the special time with JoJo. So,
yeah, Grandma was in those pictures too. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
right.
You mean Grandma didn't ride the banshee? I don't ride the banshee. The banshee makes me sick. I've done it a few times. I regret the banshee too. I'm with Grandma. That thing. I've done it a few times.
Grandma will go on the boat rides and characters, and she likes the shows.
I like Grandma. I'm team Grandma. I'm with her. Will she ride Guardians of the Galaxy? Probably not. Me neither. I'm team Grandma. See, look at that. There we go. So over to Animal Kingdom, though, I'd imagine most people did the safari be a good ride for the kids, right? I mean, I bet the kids really enjoyed that.
Yeah, JoJo actually really wants to say hi. Can she tell you?
Okay. I mean, I was a school teacher for 17 years. I like kids. I mean, I've retired now, so I still have my touch here. I think. Let's see.
Let's see what happens.
We did it early in the day, so the animals are really active.
Oh,
JoJo,
hey! Hi, JoJo. Oh, hi. See, now for all of our audio listeners here on a Monday, I'm waving hi to JoJo. Oh, that's JoJo making her podcast debut. Hi, star of the show. Hi.
Can you tell them about Disney World and the safari and seeing all the animals?
I did safari and then I seen all the animals.
What's your favorite animal?
What animals did you like seeing?
I like seeing a lion.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
I like the giraffe. I like the giraffe.
On their rock, weren't they? Yeah, and we saw hippos and giraffes.
lion.
The animals were pretty active, and there was a baby elephant at the time. So the baby elephant was kind of the highlight.
Oh, super cool. Everybody loves baby elephants, especially Alabama football fans.
Are you talking about
You see Granddad? Yeah. She said, "Can I talk to Granddad now?"
Yeah. There's Grandpa right down there in that box. What's Grandpa doing in the box?
And we saw the Finding Nemo show and the bird
Yeah.
show.
Did you get to meet Cinderella?
Yeah,
Did you see her castle?
I did hear a castle.
Oh, did you get to eat inside her castle?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about that here in just a minute. Spoiler alert.
I ate a cupcake.
Oh
You
yeah,
had
you
a
loved that cupcake.
I wish I had a cupcake tonight.
She remembers what she ate. Wow.
That's what it's all about. You got a cupcake with Cinderella in her castle. That's a
Yeah.
win.
Yeah. Can you say nice to meet you?
Nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you, JoJo. Thanks for
Thank
coming
you,
on the show.
JoJo.
It's great to meet you. You just made the show 10 times cuter.
10.
A million times. That's the cutest this show's ever been. I'll tell you that.
That's right.
That's awesome. Thanks for having her on. That's so cool. So, yeah. So, you guys, Tusker House, though, great. Another character meal
Yes.
that's way under the radar. Nobody ever talks about it.
Super
Pretty
fun.
easy ADR to get. Was that good for you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was helpful because you get the main 5 or 4. I think it was Goofy, Daisy, Donald, Mickey, and Minnie, but no Pluto. But anyways, that was really helpful to be able to meet that many characters at once and not have to wait in line for those characters separately. And they're in their safari costumes, which makes it extra cute. And yeah, JoJo had really good character interactions.
I love it. And one of the other things you mentioned here is that you guys hung out with some of the street performers, like the live performances
Oh, yes.
at Animal
Yeah.
Kingdom. That kind of stuff is kind of the heartbeat of Walt Disney World when you get the opportunity. Because at Magic Kingdom, we didn't mention it, but Dapper Dan's was one thing you put into your notes. Doug, do you agree? Like the live entertainment is kind of not mentioned a lot, but I think that kind of brings Walt Disney World to
Sure.
life.
Especially the spontaneous moments that those initiate. At Animal Kingdom, dancing and seeing Amber and dance with JoJo, and the Dapper Dans for like JoJo, she'd never seen a quartet, a barbershop quartet, and those things. But also even the live show of, to some extent, of Finding Nemo and the Lion King Festival. All those things are spectacular. But the small little shows on the side those create great memories.
And then it looks like you guys, after Animal Kingdom, because headed back to the hotel to do a little swimming. And again, I think it's underrated. Kids love those hotel pools.
yeah.
I mean, and it doesn't have to be the Polynesian pool, which, by the way, is one of the coolest pools on property
great
with the
pool.
volcano and all that stuff. But kids don't care. All-Star Sports and its little rectangular pool, that's the coolest thing in the world to a kid when they're on vacation. They just want to swim. And when you come home, you've done all these cool attractions. You've had dinner at Cinderella Castle. What's your favorite thing? Swimming. It's so wild. It's crazy. I'm sure they had a good time with that. Now, you guys finally go to Epcot. While you were there, Flower and Garden was going on. Did you guys, was that a goal of yours to see Flower and Garden, or was that just how the schedule worked out for you?
It wasn't a goal. It was actually a surprise because it was before the marketed start date. You know how they say when it's starting? Well, we were there
Ooh, a little preview.
about a
little
week
sneak
before
ahead.
that, I
Nice.
think. And what?
A little sneak preview, I guess. Sometimes they put the flowers
Yeah,
in the
I
ground
guess
early.
so. I mean, all of the topiaries were out. They already had a few of the booths open, so that was great to have that scenery on top of the normal attractions. So
Nice. So, what besides one of my favorite things, fish and chips in England? Oh man, I just had dinner and I could go for that right now. That is never not good. That is so good all the time.
it was yummy.
except for
sure.
except for fighting off the birds. Sometimes those
Right,
birds,
true. Yeah.
those birds get aggressive, and I'm like, hey man,
Yeah, why are they only in that area? Because they like the fish, I guess.
because it's so good. That's exactly why. Like birds, I came 1,000 miles for this 2 planks of fish. We're fighting for it. If we got to go, we got to go. So we're gonna square up here. Let's go. So so you guys go over there. what were you mentioned that Moana was a hit over at Animal Kingdom? What did you guys think of the new Journey of Water experience? Because that's kind of a new interactive. It's a
great.
different kind of experience there.
More of that for little kids. More of those kind of things that you don't have to wait in line for, that are interactive, that have some kind of sensory element like water or music. Kids love that, and it's like a reset for them.
Right.
It helps them kind of cope with the overstimulation of Disney, and they're still getting to see characters. And
Are you a teacher?
no, I'm
You
a
should be.
counselor.
Okay, I was saying,
I know about
that was
child
teacher
development.
speak right there. If I ever heard it, I'm like, you're a teacher. I'm like, you're an elementary school teacher. Oh my gosh. I was like, I was like right back in the classroom there for a second. What was going on? No, that's great. But you got over there, you got to do a little Frozen and a little meet and greet with Anna and
Yes.
Elsa. I bet that was a big hit as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's huge. Once again, you have to wait, but it's worth it when you realize the time they're going to spend with your grandkids.
Right.
You know, and each one took their time, and they look them in the eye, call them by their name, really make them feel special. That's worth it.
Yeah.
So
We waited about half an hour, but JoJo made friends with the girls in line next
That's
to
right.
us, and they
Yes.
were playing Ring Around the Rosie and having a great time. So
I will not tell you how long. So when Anna and Elsa first came to Walt Disney World,
Yeah.
the very first time they had their meet and greet, my wife waited 5 hours so that Mallory could meet Anna and Elsa. I am not lying. She
That
waited
is
because
commitment.
she waited in that line, and like I took the girls and did the rest of Epcot that day.
Yeah.
It was during Christmas break, and we were down there. It was over a marathon weekend, but it was before the races. And we did almost all of Epcot while my wife waited, because we got there right at rope drop, and she was like one of the very first people in line, and got in line. I think it was because it's Christmas. Like she got in line like at 7:45, and like they were in Norway. It was when they first moved to Norway, and like they met at like 11 or something. Like she was in
That's
line the whole morning or something,
crazy.
and it was ridiculous.
If I remember right, Amber, we were there for that run in 2020, and that I don't know if it was the same time, Mike, but I remember that line coming out of Norway because they hadn't really figured out the line.
I just remember it was a rainy day over Christmas break, because it was around New Year's, because it was right before a marathon
New Year's,
weekend.
okay.
It was right before the Run Disney races, but it was one of those where the marathon weekend butted up against our Christmas break, so we were down over like Christmas break, and it ran into marathon weekend, and it was a rainy day at Epcot. Because I remember us running around that whole day. My wife was like just waiting outside it, like covered up in a poncho. But God bless her, she waited in line, I think, about 5 hours so that Mallory could
is
meet Anna and Elsa.
Good mom right there.
Oh
That's
my gosh. You said 30 minutes. I'm like, oh my gosh, my wife would have traded that. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's what you do for your kids. And I was like, oh, and then Mallory, pouting because shit. I'm like, don't say anything to your mom, because she will go ballistic. Like she's doing. Like be nice. Please be nice. Real quick though, Amber, you got to ride again. This is one of those multi-generational things you don't think about though, because of having extra hands with the family
yes.
here. You got to go off and do Guardians of the Galaxy. So what'd you think of that?
Yeah. Well, Dad, you went over there with us, and
Yeah.
you still did the pre-show and everything.
I did the pre-show. Just because I used to love to do those things, but now with my age, I tend to get some vertigo. So,
Right with you, man. I got you. I feel
you
you.
can exit, but the pre-show was fun.
I mean, I think that's worth it. Even if you don't like those types of rides, it's worth going and seeing the outside, doing the photo op out there. They've got a cool ship out front, and then you can go in and see, it's like a museum about what did they call it? What do they call them? I'm getting my Marvel mixed up. I almost called them Asgardians.
You got me, because I've never seen a Marvel movie in my life, so
okay.
I'm not gonna.
Anyways.
I know like they're from Asgard.
It's a great cue.
Yeah,
really well themed
I mean,
queue.
I've been
It's
on
really
it twice, and I was there for I got to go to the media event, so I got to be there and got to get briefed on everything. And we actually got the opportunity to ride it as much as we wanted for 6 hours before it opened to the public. I went on it one time and I said, check, please. Because they just told us, you want to stay on? I was like, nope, let me off. Because they weren't going to let the lap belt up. I think I need a reset. That's what I told them. That I did. I went to Mexico and got some churros. I was like, I'm out. I can talk about it on the podcast, and I'm good. That was fun. Okay, so you got Hollywood Studios. Let's talk about that day, Amber. What's some highlights over there?
Oh man, one thing that was really great. We had a really late reservation for the barbecue, the Roundup barbecue. Over in Toy Story Land, and we happened to be over in Toy Story Land anyways doing Toy Story Mania, and I just went over there and I was like, is there any way we could have lunch earlier than 2:30? And they were like, sure, you want to eat lunch in 15 minutes? And we were like, yes. So that worked out beautifully because it allowed us to just stay in that part of the park without walking back and forth. And so just always ask, if you have a dining reservation and you're already in the area a little early, you can always ask.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll make it work.
We do that frequently. And, think about that too, because what it does, it opens up that later reservation for somebody else too. It's kind of like a chain reaction, because somebody might not have shown up. You got in, then boom, there's a reservation open later. Yeah. It's great.
And being from Texas, I was fairly impressed.
I was going to ask you that. You're from Texas, barbecue place.
It wasn't bad, yeah.
It's not quite the same, but it was good. It was good. It was good, but the atmosphere, I'd recommend to families, especially if you got kids, go to the barbecue. The decorations, the decor, the atmosphere.
JoJo rode in on the little horsey.
Yeah, they get
the hobby horses they got there. I guess kind of like over at Whispering Canyon back in the day. I don't know if they still have them, but those little hobby horses things or no?
Yeah, there's
the sticks, little stick horses. Yeah. Those are fun.
Yeah.
So she got to ride that to the table.
And it's family style, all you can eat, just to say,
Let's go. Let's go. I haven't eaten there yet. I got to get over there.
It's good.
Yeah, I got to get there. It's one of those places, though.
A little show in there. What's it like every 15, 30 minutes or something?
Right. They have a little shtick about Andy's here. Everybody's got to freeze.
Oh, and everyone freezes. That's what it is.
Andy's coming. Andy's coming. Yeah.
Nice. That was
fun. That'd be cool. Well, so you mentioned something in the notes for this day, and I'm going to kind of ask you an overall question because you said you rode Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway as a whole family, and it sounds like that worked out well. Yes. Were there other attractions or experiences throughout the trip that you found out good for the whole family, multi-generational? So maybe Small World, you guys talked about right off the bat. That I'm guessing that was one.
Yes.
But other things you could maybe offer the audience that if you're going on a trip like this?
Yeah, I think Journey with the Little Mermaid and Magic Kingdom.
Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh is a good full family one. Any of the boat rides, except for maybe Tiana's, because that one's more of a thrill boat ride. But any of the other boat rides are totally great for the whole family. Navi River Journey is a good family one. Everybody likes that, even if you're not into Avatar.
Yeah, actually, I really like that. I've never seen the Avatar movies either, but it's just so visual, right? I mean, I'm just not a movie person. I'm always watching sports, but there's so many visuals, the frogs and the lizards and everything's crawling around.
It is super cool in there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. Because I know the thing was too with a trip like this, it's okay to break up. Some people can go grab an ice cream while others ride a e-ticket attraction and check out a shop, do a little 10-minute shopping spree. That's great. But I mean, you do want to have those moments where you get to all sit down in a show, ride an attraction. You want to have a good mix of things. And that's great to bring that up. It looks like, again, more kind of entertainment shows with the kids like Playhouse Disney. We don't talk about that very much on here. Maybe it's just because I don't think about it. It was a crucial part of our trips when Mallory was little. We used to go in that big building over in the animation courtyard. Yes. I have pictures on top of pictures of Mallory looking at I think it was Bear in the Big Blue House or something up on the stage, Handy Manny. And at the end, those gold things would fall from the ceiling and Mallory would always try to catch them. And I have lots of those old pictures.
Oh,
man.
yes.
We spent the time in there. Those were the days. But I mean, those are the highlights of the trip. And it's funny how it changes over the years for you.
Yes. And now it's all different characters. It's now all the new shows that we didn't grow up with
Yeah,
either.
I don't even know them anymore. I mean, I
it's
guess
like
is it
Vampirina.
Vampirina? Do they do anything with that Bluey? I don't even know what
McNutt.
that's about, but everybody talks about it.
Bluey, not yet. I
Not
think
yet.
I've heard rumors that Bluey's coming.
I don't even know what
but-
that's about, but everybody talks about it. So I'm like, they got to capitalize on that, I guess. Is that
Oh,
that's
yeah.
Disney, isn't it? Bluey? Is it?
I think
I think they've got the IP.
they've got the they license it for
Yeah.
Disney Plus,
Okay.
but
I'm gonna say I'm
and
gonna lose
then-
some. Everybody's
they
gonna
had
come
a
at me.
Bluey meet and greet at D23,
Okay,
so that
there
says
you go.
something.
All right. I'm just saying. Because, I mean, everybody over in the clubhouse, we have the Discord server. People talk about it and they love it. I mean, people love that show. I haven't
Oh,
seen
it's
it.
a great show.
Yeah.
It's
I
a great
like
show.
Bluey. It's pretty funny.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, everybody loves it. So why, again, it took Disney a decade to use Frozen. It's like, it's hot, Disney. It's not that hard. Boom. Put
Yeah.
this, it's a dog.
And
isn't
they've
it?
got
Put it
all
in
of
there.
the Playhouse Disney meet and greets out in front of the show too, so you can kind of make it a whole thing with. If you have to wait to go into the show, there's all the characters out front to meet as well. So JoJo had to meet Fancy Nancy, so there's no line for Nancy, so that was great. She got to meet her. That was really special, and I didn't realize that she would have a meet and greet for some reason. So I was kind of an unexpected surprise for her to get to meet her.
Fancy Nancy. We used to say that all the time, but I didn't know she had a show. That's what my wife used to say. I guess she has a show on Disney too.
Yeah.
Fancy Nancy.
Yeah.
We used to just use the term. And you got to see Lightning McQueen. Limited time
Yes,
magic. That's
that
going
was
away.
super
Good
fun,
timing.
too.
Good timing. That's going to be a villain show. Okay, so let's wrap up here with I love how you go back to the Magic Kingdom for your last day.
Yes.
Perfect. You're at the Polynesian. Going to get another shot at the signature park here. So what are your thoughts kind of going back and hit the favorites, stuff you missed? Doug, give us the highlights here because I know Amber, you mentioned you got to kind of close out here with some fun in the evening.
I think this is a recommendation. If you have that opportunity to have Magic Kingdom with little ones be the bookends, I think that's perfect because it sets to me, that's the Disney experience. Like also, of course, I went in 1972. or whatever. So a little bit of nostalgia there, but especially for little ones, that's what the strength of Magic Kingdom is for the little ones. I mean, all the parks have something for the little ones, but I think the Magic Kingdom, that's where it shines, is for the younger kids. And so why not bookend it? And I think it's a great way to finish off the trip because then they have that fresh of the classic Disney experience at the end. Yeah.
I agree because that's going to be the kind of the last thing they remember is, oh man, that last night I got to see Cinderella Castle and two, there's something that just sticks in your memory. I think we talked about this on the shows last week is the Magic Kingdom the Disney parks at night in general, but especially the Magic Kingdom at night. I still remember we went to the Magic Kingdom when I was in 5th grade and the visuals of that trip at night are stuck in my brain. Just like walking through Adventureland. And, Magic Kingdoms, the magic carpets of Aladdin weren't there back then. There was like planters and stuff like that. But I still remember like hearing the beats of the drums and how tropical it felt in there at night. And it when I was there that night, it felt almost deserted. It did feel very kind of, something could happen here. Like I'm in a place that is adventurous. It feels very exotic. And I just remember the feel I had in the Magic Kingdom because it was nighttime and you could hear the boats, the Jungle Cruise boats kind of, the engines fire, and it's weird because that was when I was in 5th grade, that was 40 years ago. But I mean, those memories are being made each night, how the light packaging is and the sounds and even the smells coming from the confectionery and even from the weird smells from like the Tomorrowland Speedway and all that, but that stuff sticks with you because they're special times. I don't know, Amber, what were some of your highlights from that last night? Because it is kind of bittersweet. The trip's coming to an end, but also your heart's kind of full too at the same time.
Having lunch at Cinderella's Royal Table.
Yes, that was
a great end to the trip. And dad and mom, they snuck away at one point and went to Main Street and bought a special gift for my grandma and gave it to her at that meal. So that just made a special moment too. They got her one of those like crystal hummingbirds from that
That's one of the shop, yeah.
yeah, where they like make all of those really nice home decor, pieces. And so that was really a cool moment. And then, of course, JoJo's full on princess era of her life. And so that was her ultimate moment, was meeting all those princesses, and the food was great and great service.
That was a great bookend. I think a tip for grandparents and parents with young kids, by the time of 4 days, though, it was good that we had a resort. We were on the monorail, because mid-afternoon, they were good. So we were able to go back to the hotel, chill, have some downtime. And that was helpful for everyone, while allowing Amber and her husband to go and do, some of the big things. But for the kids, it was just right, because we could go back and chill.
I love that.
Relax.
I love that. That is so, and I love that you saved the meal at Cinderella Castle to the end, because I always say this, and I've learned this over the years too, is that you have to save kind of your one big thing to the end of the trip. And for me, it's that, when your trip is, 5, 6, 7 days, and you get closer to the end of it, you're like on day 4, day 5, you start to get a little sad, because you've been looking forward to this for a year, for 9 months or whatever. You've been paying it off. You've been working hard. And all of a sudden you realize, wow, this thing I've been looking forward to for 9 months is going to be over in like 48 hours, and I'm back to the grind. I'm back to working every day. My kids, I won't see them again, because they're back to cheerleading practice every day. And, everybody's back to work, when you get to my age and stuff, and you get a little sad. But if you have that one big thing at the end, whether it's like a fireworks cruise or a meal at Cinderella Castle or what have you, that one special thing, a tour to Keys to the Kingdom, whatever you want to do, it makes it a little less sad. It's really sad when the big thing at the end is over. Don't get me wrong. I mean, then it kind of hits you like a ton of bricks, but it does kind of give you, save, what I say is kind of save your best ADRs, save your kind of your favorite thing for the end, so that the end of the trip is something you're looking forward to and not dreading. Because it is kind of hard when you see, that last night you see families walking in so excited into your hotel, they're checking in, and, it's like in your heart, you can't be jealous. You gotta let that go. You gotta be excited for them and just be happy that you got to have the opportunity for the trip, right? I mean, how blessed are we that we get to do this?
Yes.
But it's like, oh man, they're starting out, and I gotta go home, but it's okay. We get to all come back, and we're very lucky. One thing I want to ask you about, though, real quick, Amber, because this, again, something that flies under the radar that I am just a huge fan of, that we just never talk about enough. Enchanted Tales with Belle.
Oh yeah.
This thing,
I almost forgot.
People don't even know it's there. It's dead in the center of Magic Kingdom. And it's like, what? What is that?
It's so much more than a meet and greet.
Exactly.
It's a whole show, basically. Yes. And it gets everybody involved with, the kids who are old enough, and some of the dads are in the show, and they act out the story of Beauty and the Beast. And there's also some cool special effects. I won't spoil anything, but there's some neat, when you go from room to room, there's some neat special effects. And so definitely prioritize doing that. It's not just meeting Belle, it's this whole experience. And then at the end, they make the part where the kids do meet Belle at the end really special, because they like announce them like it's a royal banquet of some kind. And so when they got to JoJo, they were like, okay, what's your name? And she goes, Cinderella. and they were like looking at me like
you're
what?
Really a Disney fan.
And I was like, if that's what she wants to be called, that's fine with me. And so they go, announcing Cinderella. And you could tell she believed she is Cinderella, and she's hanging out with her girl Belle. And they got some really cute pictures and really sweet hugs. And everybody in the audience was giggling at her calling herself Cinderella. So
that's the sign of a great trip. She's in Fantasyland. I mean,
she is embodying.
She's living her best life.
Dreams.
That's it. So real quick story on that, because you mentioned the dads get involved, right? So We were at a football game or something the other day, not too long ago. All the cheer parents are sitting back on the bleachers, and somebody mentioned they went to Walt Disney World. Right? I always get brought into everything, right? Because they know I'm the Disney guy. Everyone's like, "Oh yeah, Mike." So they're talking about this attraction. I'm like, "Yep, it's called Enchanted Tales with Belle." And they're like, "Yeah, I had to be a knight. I had to be a knight in shining armor." So I'm like, every dad has to be a knight in shining armor in that attraction. So I'm like, I pull out a picture on Google Photos. I'm like, I've been a knight in shining armor like 5 times in that attraction. So I'm just, I hold the thing up. So I hold the thing up and you can just see different shoes every time or different shorts. So I'm a dad. I wear the same Old Navy shorts every time. So basically it's just a different pair of shoes. But so then all the other dads that have been to Walt Disney World are like, yep, I've been a knight in that attraction too. So all the dads, all the cheer dads, because we all have daughters, right? So we're just all like, every dad is popping up their Google Photos like, yep, I've been a knight. Yep, I've been a knight. Yep, I've been a knight. Every cheer dad had been a knight in like the last decade on that attraction. I'm just like, oh my God, we're all knights in Enchanted Tales with Belle. Like maybe every dad in America at this point has been a knight in Enchanted Tales with Belle. We should take an unofficial poll.
That's hilarious.
Yes, we're all standing there doing our due diligence with our
being good dads, being fun dads.
It's like this is like a Saturday Night Live sketch.
Dad got roped in. Weren't you in like the Doug show?
I was in the Doug show. Doug was in the Doug show. Well, there's a pretty funny story about it. Mike, I don't know if we have time.
No, hey, this is why we're here. Let's go, Doug. Let's roll.
Pretty funny.
I mean, you were in the Doug show, you're Doug. I mean, of course.
Yeah. And so. Also, they selected our son at the time, who is about 6 or so at the time, because the show's over, so it's not a spoiler. But later on, they bring out a little kid. It's like I can't remember. He's like the diaper kid or what?
Quail Man.
Quail Man. That's it. Quail Man. And so they take Colton back there too, and he's going to be the Quail Man. And so our family, though, is sitting out in the audience. And so they know that Colton, that's my son, and myself, we're back. We're going to be in the show. So they see me come out. And then it's time for the Quail Man to come out. It's a little African-American boy comes out instead of our son. And they're going, what happened with Colton? Where did he go? And it freaked the whole family out because they thought, well, listen, my wife's going, isn't he watching Colton?
You lost your kid. You lost your kid.
Taking care of him. And it freaked them all out. But the cast members were taking care of them while the show was going on. But it was just a shock to the family. Amber, I don't know if you remember that. But.
Oh, I remember. And I think he just, when it came to it, I think he got a little nervous.
He got nervous. Yeah.
He found another kid last second.
They got somebody else that was like, yeah, you can go on.
There was too much time between when they picked him and then when they actually go on stage. So he had time to get nervous.
Yep. That happens. So. He got a chance to think like, I don't think show business is for me. Somebody else, I'll do it.
Anyway.
Yeah.
It's probably one of those you have to be there moments, but the family was shocked when a different kid comes out.
I could totally see that. I could see that because one time I tried to get Mallory to do Trials of the Jedi or whatever. And I had her all in the robe and everything and she would not go. I was like, come on, man, use the Force. I want the picture. She would not go. I was so disappointed. I was so sad. I was such a bad parent that day. I was like, I really want you to fight Darth Vader. I don't want to fight Darth Vader. Please fight Darth Vader for your dad. I was like, what am I doing? I'm begging my kid to fight Darth Vader. What has become of me? I'm such a bad parent. Anyway, okay, so real quick. So you guys got to go back, though, and close it out. The Amber, you and your husband, that had to been free play there at the end.
That was
last
great.
night, just run around.
We just got to be in the park at night, see the fireworks as we were making our way to Tomorrowland, ride Space Mountain, ride Tron again at night. And then we stopped at the Photo Pass on our way out and got some nighttime pictures in front of the castle together. And I definitely am glad we got those because there weren't as many pictures as you would think of just my husband and I. So that was great.
Right. I mean, yeah, I'd imagine. So we got to wrap because we are kind of over the time here, but man, I love, this is what I want every trip to be, right? It's families making memories together. And, the little ones will have these memories, maybe not the memories from the trip, but they'll have the images, right? They'll have the pictures, they'll have the videos of when they went with, you guys, and just talk, you guys will tell the stories at Thanksgiving, at Christmas, for years and years to come. Grandma's got them, you guys have them. This is what it's all about, and it's, you guys get to go back to your previous trips. As we close out, each one of you, do you have like maybe one more quick little story or a tip, something you want to share with the audience from this trip, or just something you'd like to leave everybody with? So I'll let Doug kind of lead us off with this. We got Doug.
I think a tip that's helpful, it's been a tradition we've been doing with not just Disney vacations, but others, is use the memory maker. I'm not sure what they call it, Photo Pass memory maker service, because we come back and make a little from Shutterstock or whatever, make a little memory book from the thing. And to have those professional quality photos already ready for you. And it's worth it to make that little memory book with the outstanding photos that you get, even with the special effects and all that. So that would be my tip, is to capture those memories by using the memory maker, because then you're not having to take the pictures. Everybody can be in the picture, all those things, but the quality and of course the angles and the shots that they get make it really beautiful. So that would be, if I could just say a tip, is make one of those memory books for your family when you get back.
And I'm sure, Grandma probably really appreciates that too, right? Because
that's what we give it to her as a gift. Actually, after the trip, we give the gift of the memory book, and she has it in there. And of course, now everybody can look at it, but it's also a great way to thank her.
Yeah. And I think too, with that, we get, so at least for years and years, I left all these great images on my phone. And while they would pop up sometimes in like I have an app that'll show like, on this day, whatever, it'd give you a few highlights of this day 5 years ago, 7 years ago, and so forth. But I've been trying to be more aware of, like, I got a big photo frame to hang on the wall here in the studio. I got one in the living room, and now I can just like email the photos right to the frame, and it senses motion and it turns on anytime anybody walks by. So we get to actually see pictures now without having to stare at our phone, which it brings back a photo of, Mallory at Walt Disney World when she was 3, or Paige when she was 8, with Pluto or whatever. And a lot of times, if you just keep them on your phone, we have all these great memories, but a lot of times they're in our pocket. We just never do anything with them. And I think a book, a photo album, it sounds kind of old fashioned, but it's there, it's tangible, and it's easily accessible. So I think it's a great idea. I love that. Great tip, Doug. Thanks. Yeah. All right, Amber, close us out. What do you got?
Yeah. I think by that last day, we were like, okay, we've eaten at Captain Cook's probably like 10 meals. So we decided
those nachos are good. I'm just
saying. They are good, but you kind of reach your limit. So then we went over to the Grand Floridian, also on the monorail. So do that, go to different, and we had this great moment where we happened upon a memory maker station that nobody was getting their picture taken at the time. And we got some amazing pictures of Jocelyn, and they have it all set up with like a pillow and a glass slipper. And she happened to be holding her little stuffed animal Chubby from Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Chubby, the little orange bird. So she had her little Chubby. So the cast member got her to do all these cute poses with Chubby and the glass slipper, and kept making her laugh. Like, he was so good at making her laugh. And so we have these beautiful pictures of her smiling, whereas a lot of the other pictures from the trip, she's not as animated or smiling as full out as she was there, because that cast member did such a good job of making her feel so special. And that was just a wonderful surprise kind of on the last night too.
I love hearing stuff like this too, because it's not always the e-ticket attraction. It's not always the, while eating in Cinderella Castle is always going to be a highlight, but a lot of times it's these unexpected little moments during the trip. Again, over and over, we talk about this, that are the things you'll remember and the highlights of the trip. So I know this has been, it's a busy time. We got to sit down. You have the kids. Your husband's taking care of the kids right now, and I appreciate him doing that for you so we could have this hour together. And Doug, I know you're very busy down there near Austin, so I appreciate you guys so much coming on. And what a way to start the week. Our listeners appreciate it. This is going to get everybody kicked off the right way with a positive note on a Monday. And thanks for coming on. We'll have to do this again. Hope you guys had a wonderful time.
Thanks, did. Mike. Thank you. This was fun.
All right. Well, don't forget, our show is brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you get to your favorite Disney destination for no additional cost to you. You can check out all the details this week over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That one extra click supports everything we do throughout the year. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And you can support us as well over on Patreon. Just $5 a month is all it takes. And you'll get our bonus show every week. It's called Mike in the Midwest. So come on over, patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. We'll have our live call-in show this weekend. It is on Sunday night at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. We get you in and out, usually right about the time for the football game. So come on over. Scott joins me. We take your calls for an hour. We talk all things Disney on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. So we'll be waiting for your call on Sunday night. Join us there. Also, 24/7, 365, we have the Be Our Guest Podcast Clubhouse. That's our Discord server. It's like a message board / live chat. We talk all things Disney. We have a channel for sports. We have a channel for just what's going on in your corner of the world. It's really just our hangout where you can meet other great fans of the show. Just hang out with them. We have great people. So coming over this week, beourguestpodcast.com/clubhouse. And finally, give me a follow on social media. I'm at Be Our Guest Mike, Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. All right, time to get out of here. We'll be back again on Wednesday with your listener question. Will Pam be here? Will Ricky be here? Will Scott be here? I have no idea. One of them will be, maybe all three. Who knows? I got to find out. They'll text me, but we'll see. Guess what? I'll be here. I promise you that. So until we get back together again, well, I shouldn't have said that, and I'm knocking on wood. Something's going to happen for sure. I'm going to be careful, look both ways every time I cross the street between now and then. I promise you that. But until we get back together again on Wednesday, you guys have a great start to your week. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.
You've been listening to the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. If you have questions, comments, or would like to be a guest on the show, please visit our website at beourguestpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon.